Oh, and of course it just lands it. So this is a full showcase at this point. We have Kenny actually, who's also one of our own. They're currently working at Jasco Games. So we've got Jasco on Jasco. So this is some Jasco on Jasco violence you guys are going to be witnessing here in the first round of the Wednesday Weekly. Also, welcome back, Ronaldo. How was your
So
quick break?
so that was bad timing, not intended as a joke. GPU sure did shut off on me.
Oh, I should have never mentioned it. I
You
should have
jinxed
just
it.
kept. I really should have just kept my mouth shut.
Comedic timing aside, that was great. Everything else, not so much. I'm joining you right at the game now, though, guys.
All right, so we're kicking into this game, and Mina, interesting matchup actually, and that I think Mina can do some really nasty things, especially if the pilot knows what they're doing. I know it's been a hot minute since Luhan's been running her, but I do think this will lead for some really interesting gameplay.
Definitely. And if there's one person who absolutely has been running this deck even before since that came out, since the reveals, this right here, this is going to be almost tuned as best as you can.
Yep. So for those of you guys who don't know, Mina Ashido is a six-hander, 27 life with the permanent ability where face-down cards in your card pool do not count towards progressive difficulty. And then has a response: after you punch a range attack, it deals damage. Your rival loses 1 health for each. Oh, is that the new one? That's the new one. I am so dumb. I was reading it out loud and I was like,
Yeah, I
that
was like,
doesn't
that
sound
sounds
right.
like Mina too.
Yeah, that was definitely not. She's a seven-hander with 20 life, and she has a once per turn. You get discard 1 card, and then after you check a card, you may play it as your next turn. No checking necessary. So it really kind of helps in the RNG front, where like if you're hitting checks that you want to play, all right, boom, we're just gonna go ahead and play this one. So it actually deepens your hand. Your hand is like almost double the size theoretically when you consider that any of the checks you make to play the cards in your hand can also utilize as an additional card you play. So it's got that great depth to it in terms of being able to dig to find the cards that you need.
Definitely, but it does have that downside of, yes, you're digging those cards out, but if there's multiple that you see in your checks that you want to play, you have to pick one, and you have to pick it right then and there. And at
True.
the same time, it's still random chance on what pulls through. The card that you might want to see just may not show up this time.
Absolutely. So it's got that balance, but we'll see how it mitigates, and we'll see how Bakugo is able to play it out here. We have build 4 over on Luhan's side, and getting a 3 on a 3. And we'll see how Kenny's able to proceed from here. As far as symbols, presumably with that Walkling, we see Mina being on water. Or life, I guess, potentially is
Life.
also one of them. Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, no, Creepy Realization's out as well, so it has to be water.
All right, and then for Bakugo, we are on, well, I don't actually think I know yet, but presumably air has been very popular for Bakugo, so.
Yeah, I would assume air, even without seeing all the cards being put down yet. We've only seen Bakugo cards straight right now, so could be anything, but would definitely be on water overall.
All right, so does it look like we are on a build 4 here?
I meant air. I don't know why I said water. I was looking at the Mineta set again.
Right.
Yeah, look at me, just a 4 build, pull down, and
4 on 4, pretty solid, especially since Bakugo is a deck that can very much like work with very little. If his strings work really well, he ignores progressive difficulty. He blows up his resources to be able to get extra advantage. So there's a lot of maximizing utility on what it is. But here we have Giant Ice Wall.
I believe yes, because it's the one that's more zoomed in. I always get those two mixed up because of the art.
Yeah, it's literally just how zoomed in are you?
Yep. Yeah, I do believe that one is Giant Ice Wall, though.
So that's really obnoxious. I mean, not too bad, though. Giant Ice Wall is one that you want to see later because you do want to have the momentum to be able to give your further attacks more stun. But this is fine. If anything, it gets an early poke, and you'll be able to utilize the momentum later on. Just because presumably It depends, because water has some really explosive attacks, and I guess the one bonus you have there is that at least depending on Mina, it's a little bit RNG instead of like something like Tsuyu, where you're just gonna chain huge 6 chunk attacks over and over and over again. So
And I think it's exactly like you said, just being able to go ahead, get a little bit of poking early, get the momentum drive, and then be able to have the momentum down for when those Mina checks come up, where you're like, oh, okay, yep, I want this card. It might cost me a little momentum to use, but you have it in the bank ready to go.
So just sitting and considering on blocks here, I believe.
I would believe so as well. I don't think there's too much out. Just looking like damage is going to go straight through.
All right, so we're going to take 4 here. So that's 22 for Bakugo.
Oh, that's a card we know right away. Frigid Heat Wave.
Yeah. I don't know if how many range though he has in his discard pile at the moment. So I don't think we're going to get the draw.
No, I definitely don't think we have the draw. I'm pretty sure there's not enough in there. But even still, again, just another solid card to put some damage through and basically be like, you need to block this, or I'm just gonna. You already seen I have momentum cards there, so.
Yep. Ooh, hitting what 3?
2 of them.
2 or 3? 2. Okay, so that's an additional 4 right there. Yeah, I mean, you kind of want to put Bakugo kind of at parity as early as you can, right? You're a 20 health character. I'm going to be a 20 health character. Just kind of go back and forth. So any opportunity to get that early poke, especially since you have to be careful. Especially Mina being a 20 health character means that like Bakugo is one of those characters that can just chain incredibly well. So the sooner you can put yourself at parity with Bakugo, the sooner, the easier it is for you to be able to pivot versus because now your opponent doesn't feel like they have free range to do whatever they want because they have to play like slightly defensively or just kind of a little bit more mindful. Whereas if that health disparity is wider, then it's a little bit you kind of are more prone to being pushed into a corner.
Yeah, and with Bakugo, you really want to put him on the defensive as best you can because he can just go if he doesn't feel like he needs to defend anymore. Those foundations are just damage for him, straight up.
All right, and we're just gonna stick it here. We're just gonna chill on sticky balls and then presumably pass. Maybe get another foundation down. I will say it's nice now that I run my water decks. You're not as incentivized to run like 4 sticky balls, which is kind of a tough. It's not as good as coordinated effort where you feel good having 4 unique foundations in the deck, but still great utility in terms of being able to. Using the. Mina ability? Yeah, so just to wrap up my thought. Yeah, so just to wrap up the thought here, how Sticky Ball's still great utility, fantastic foundation, but at least now it's not a 4-0, which is nice. So.
Yep. And looks like the Froppy DLC card coming in. There's no other, really anything in the card pool to make use, so it's not going to be a very damaging attack, but a third attack on turn 2, it's just going to be, again, straight more damage going on through.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, just kind of using, open range here to try and get as much damage as possible. Already, we see Owl here being at 14, so in a tough spot.
And that's going to go down a little bit more as soon as this damage goes through, so. Presumably at this point, if you haven't blocked the first 2, you're probably not blocking that last attack, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're talking about the health disparity. Now it looks like, I'm surprised there's a block finally coming down.
Yep.
And that's a little too much damage. Just don't want to take it.
Yeah, it's a dangerous range when you get to that point. Looks like we are.
Looks like it failed though.
Failing the check. Okay.
Yup.
Going down to 9.
And now you see the opposite of that health disparity. Now Deer is very much on the defensive. Has the ability to go ahead and use all of the tools and resources.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about going for a 6, I guess.
Going for the 5
or the 5, yeah. All right, and he hits it. So the big thing is very much It's like a fighting game, and of course, you can see so many of those mechanics express themselves in the way that they've designed the universe's system. Is the lower your health total is, the more you feel like you're one strike away from being able to die. So now you need to play more defensively and a little bit more lean back, and it means that it's one of those things where that gap just kind of gets further and further away the more you just kind of do nothing about it, and then it's harder to put yourself in a position to win because that requires you to commit yourself more, but the more you commit yourself, the more you leave yourself open to having not enough defenses to just lose out. So
yeah, it's a very good balancing act, and knowing, just like in fighting games, when you can go in, when you are being stuck back and pushed a little bit in the corner, when you need to play your footsies. It's got a lot of those deep mechanics that most of the best fighting games honestly have, and it's translated very well into the card game.
So I don't think there's much options here for Bakugo. I think you just go all in. I think you just do what your deck does best, and you try and see if you can close that 20 health gap.
Yeah, you really do have two options. Either you don't attack whatsoever and just build and keep what you have in hand for the defense, see if you can survive another turn, or you go in hard. I think you have to pick one of those two sides, but going in the middle is probably not going to do very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like hopefully they're going aggressive. We do see an attack being dropped down, so I'm hoping that it's pure aggression that's going to be coming out, but we'll see.
Yep, at the moment, point blank incineration out here, stun 1, and then enhance. If the next attack you play this turn is a mid attack, it'll get +3 speed.
Yeah, so in theory, it's going to go into a long-lasting explosion. That way, you can kind of keep that combo going, keep pushing the extra speed and extra damage to the next card on and on. And at this point, that's really what you're going to have to do to be able to push down that health gap.
Yep.
Looks like Sticky Ball's being flipped and clogging up the card pool. And again, not letting Bakugo get to really do what he wants for the most part.
Yeah, it's a really good move. Just because it Bakugo is really good at being able to use low resources explicitly because he can create a situation where his card pool is empty. But here it's going to make it very difficult, especially with only 2 standing foundations.
Yep. And with Creepy Realization on the back foot there, it's going to allow, if another big attack does come through, just an easier way to mitigate some of that damage.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, see, I'm very much against what you said earlier about running 4 Sticky Balls in a deck. Because I think you do run 4 Sticky Balls because you flip them so quickly. They're so good on both offense and defense that it doesn't feel bad to have a few extras in the deck to put down. Even if you, put it down, stick, flip, go on to the next one.
Yeah, but that's coming from the Mineta player, so I feel like your perspective. I feel like your perspective on the card's a little bit different than other decks.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Mineta is the best character in the game. Whether the numbers showed or not, it's in my heart.
But no, it's a great card. I include lots of copies of it. But whereas with Kirishima in the format, you would feel like it was a mandatory 4-of just to kind of give a little bit more disruption. Now it's not as much. It's just more so my take.
Fair. No, I definitely can feel you through that. Looks like it's coming down with the block. We're gonna get some giant ice wall breaker. So again, just kind of forcing Bakugo into this spot where checks are gonna be very, very not fun.
Yep. The breaker from Ice Storm, the progressive difficulty kind of just like not being able to be ignored because of the way it plays out. This is a very tough spot for Bakugo here at the moment.
I'm interested to see. I think in my position, I would honestly just build here. Again, just go, okay, the attack fizzled, can't get my cool combo going off, can't keep it going. And I'm played wrong, coming out with a Monster Blast.
All right, looks like we're just going to keep on pushing it.
Which if there's no more breaker in hand, wouldn't honestly be the worst, because then you could still get that card back out, keep playing, committing everything but the character though, just to get that attack to fire. And
yeah.
breaker
So
and progressive
arguably the
difficulty showing off.
aggression. Yep, here arguably the aggression's gonna stop. Presumably after you get your damage in here. I think because I do think Luhan has no cards in hand, so there might be a couple of enhances to kind of like lower that back down. But regardless, I think at this point, just because you have no more foundation, you just build and then hope for the best.
Yep. It looks like already on creepy knows that that's immediately going to be pushed through just to lower the damage, and yep. No reason not to, especially with no cards in hand. You might as well lower the damage as best you can.
Yep, precisely. So currently sitting at 18-9. We'll see how much we're able to close the gap here. And this is definitely one thing that we see with newer Bakugo players is just kind of like figuring out when is the best time to start doing things like popping your own foundations to be able to extend your advantage. It is definitely a move that typically you would want to make kind of in the later half of the game, where it doesn't punish you as hard for not being able to have those resources to be able to make your checks in the future.
Agreed. And now you can see right here where there's no foundations ready for the defense and sitting at, single-digit life.
Mm-hmm.
Mina just has to draw okay. Not even a great hand. Just needs at least a couple oranges. Gotta fight off Scurvy, and Mina's got this in the bag.
I think that's kind of like where the neat thing is with the deck too. Like, let's say for whatever reason Luhan ends up drawing all gray, he can just keep on checking until he checks orange. So, and then at that point he's got an attack. Now, will that one attack be enough? I mean, 9 health is still, ish, and he doesn't really have the enhances to be able to push it all the way at the moment, unless it happens to be some kind of Shoto card that gives powerful, like if it's another Ice Storm, then that could be a whole separate.
Yeah, as I say, Ice Storm or Frigid Heat Wave would be able to give itself some pump.
Yeah, but that's the great thing about Mina is being able to get that kind of like not selective dig, but being able to keep on going. Capabilities here on a 5, I believe.
I believe so. Yes. And yeah, that's gonna fail right out, and that is a painful end of the turn.
Yep. So here we just pray.
Yeah, 2 cards. You got 2 cards in the hand to block. So if they're low shield numbers, you're doing okay. But if I was a betting man, I would not be betting on this Bucko this turn.
No, but we'll see. We have seen wilder things happen before.
Very true. Very true. And let's see if there's Scurvy in hand. Oh, we got citrus. We're okay. Orange put out.
Frog Lashing is a good one.
Yep. Especially with being your first card to fill the card pool.
Yep, it's fill your card pool. It's free. Because he'll be able to uncommit the foundation. He's going to be able to get a pump from it afterwards.
So in this situation here, on the Bako side, do you just call GG and go to the next game? Save the time, because in any tournament, time is a factor here. Just save, the couple minutes or however many that's going to take for the next 1 or 2 attacks to be played down. And just go, yep, all right, let's go to the next one. Let's start over. Had a bad draw, just kind of wash your hands of it.
Competitively, yes. I think that's a huge aspect of it. On the other end of the scale, one, these are going to be quick games. These are 2 aggressive decks from the look of the builds. And then secondarily, I do know that Kenny is a newer player to the card game. So when we're talking about newer players, I think just getting the opportunity to play the game end to end and really just kind of get the flow of the entire game is worth it. So here it's more of a learning experience, more so than just outright, what is the best competitive decision. But absolutely, I think time management is huge. We talk about it all the time, whether it's here, the provisional showdowns. And guys, for the provisional showdowns, understand time. If you're losing in game 1, like Lenoco was saying, 100% mitigate that resource as best you can. He's a judge. He knows. He tells people all the time, guys, your time's up. And so you guys definitely want to utilize that time. If round one is just not working it and you guys have a very, very low percentage chance to take it, then mitigate your time as best fit. Though at the same time, your opponent might just draw a gray. So at least have them, at least make sure you're actually about to die. Then at that point, just clean house. But
yep. And here we just see a check, and that
probably spells game. Yeah.
Using me to pull the card back too. So we have a third attack coming down. Yeah, it just depends on how fast we're gonna be able to get that. 'Cause I believe there's still 2 cards in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in theory, if you don't do any speed pumps on this ice wall, you could block it.
Technically.
Technically.
We are going to get rid of that momentum, and we're going to make it massive just because we can. Yep. How rude of you, Luhan.
But that's it. And now you're forcing the block to come out, and
you're forcing a full block, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a full block regardless, but...
Yeah.
Presumably that
I was just say, I believe. Yep. Yeah. Not enough.
Okay. Looks like we'll be moving over to game 2. So, in terms of this kind of strategy, what do you think Bakugo could bring in? I don't think we're going to be seeing sideboarding here, but while we have a moment while they're kind of shuffling their decks and figuring that out. What do you think Bakugo could bring in against like a water Mina deck?
So honestly, we've only seen Bakugo cards at the moment. I think this might be Bakugo starter. This might be just rival deck Bakugo. Which not a bad thing at all. I mean, out of the 2 rival decks, definitely Bakugo is probably the stronger of the 2. But again, looking like they're going straight to shuffling. It doesn't look like any sideboards are here. If it was starter Bakugo with maybe a couple extra starter cards, yeah, I would probably try to swap out capabilities in this one. You're probably not going to be getting too much momentum. And put in some more ways to mitigate some of the damage. Start going to a more defensive style.
Yep, I think anything that mitigates, because they're obviously tuned to be Bakugo versus Midoriya, so anything they have that mitigates against punches, you can just kind of ignore, probably swap those out. So I think those would be the routes specifically to this that you would utilize to kind of help up the matchup. Of course, you have access to, if we're looking for Bakugo in general, you could definitely utilize some great tools from air to be able to push in more damage, maybe push in some more tempo. Or you could do fire and just kind of utilize some Tokiyami stuff to be able to really extend how intense your card pool can be and stuff like that. So,
yeah. Honestly, I think with the fire, people are sleeping a lot on Fire Bakugo. I think it's just because air is doing so much better and has a much better track record. But there's a lot of great tools in fire that people just are not picking up and throwing in that deck.
Yeah, and I think he scales really well to the next set as well. Just having once again another full slew of support, right? Between Bakugo having an entire kit, also having access to Todoroki's kit as well, which means that card pool, that symbol pool is getting an expansive amount of support. So it definitely lends itself to going down that route of just really being able to aggro, put a lot of really beefy attacks on board. And put a lot of hurt onto your opponent.
Yeah, we haven't even seen some of the other fire characters too that are getting some support. We have a couple Endeavor cards to still look at. Dabi's still coming through. There's gonna be a lot of good fire support, I think, coming out, and it's just gonna synergize very well with both set 1 and set 2 characters. I think you're gonna see a much more diverse card pool once that drops.
Agreed, absolutely. Looking at chat, we got Beefy Ramen saying that this week I think we'll see a lot of water decks. Yo, yeah, people are going to be playing Shoto Todoroki en masse this weekend. That's crazy.
Nah, it's all about Mineta. Mineta on water. I'm glad we both agree that water's the right symbol, but we gotta talk about your character choice.
But no, I agree. I think Tsuyu is a fantastic choice for the tournament. And I have to resonate something that was said in Bromley's podcast yesterday. In that if you take a Tsuyu player who kind of, I think it was Phil who was saying this, Phil Birch. If you take a Tsuyu player who waits half a second and doesn't decide to commit everything they've got onto the turn 2 and instead go for the turn 3, turn 4, where they can attack like a dozen times a turn, like you'll get absolutely absurd at that point. So I think that deck is going to do an incredible amount of things.
I definitely agree, and we've been seeing a lot the past 2 major events that we've had, the 1K and the Unfun Stuff tournament. We had a Tokiyami versus Nomu final in each. So I'm thinking Tokiyami and Nomu are going to be, with Tsuyu, be the top 3 that you're looking at. And I think Jiro's going to be number 4.
I think Jiro's going to be fantastic. Yeah, she's been already doing great, and now you have Kirishima that she doesn't have to worry about as much now, and I think it lends itself really well to that kind of open field. But very exciting. I'm super down to see how, with Kirishima not gone, I think Kirishima's still a fantastic character. With him being scaled back, just how it opens up. Very risky here. Well, very risky. Risky in the sense that Lohan could have been stuck with a build 1 here had he checked not great. So
looking at the rest of the cards in his hand, I think, and having the game 1 lead, you can be a little bit risky on that build and be okay.
True. And maybe if he doesn't run 2 checks in his deck, which at the moment I think he may. I mean, I guess he could technically be running Tape Swing. But he did have Mina available, so I guess just accepting that he can go down that route instead.
Mina, I believe, is committed or pulled for the. Okay, yeah.
That to pay for the
rescue completed.
I think. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, because I know I did not see a Mina ability fire, so that'd have been early in that turn there. But Rescue Complete is also one of those cards that is just going to be absolutely fantastic for the Mina deck. Just being able to get more fuel by uncommitting your resources and just a little bit more defense as well.
Yep. Imagine being able to play Tape Swing and not doing so. Hey man, I've said so. We said it on the last provisional, and I felt like an oracle when I was saying as much. Those 2 checks just gravitate to the top of the deck, and not when you're about to draw them, but for checks and stuff. So I understand they're super powerful, and some men some individuals like to live more dangerously than others. I've just been having incredibly tough time with Tape Swings.
Restart was commentating me when we saw in the 1K with Tam, turn 1, put down 1 foundation. The second foundation that pulled through was a Tape Swing check. Couldn't pass it.
Yeah,
there was 1 foundation and.
Yeah, that's super hurt. That very much set up Bromley for just an unwinnable game at that point, which was really tough to watch.
It was tough to commentate. I felt bad.
No, not at all. It's basically what this presents itself as is a opportunity to understand game state and just see different sequences that are available here. So how Witzer kicking it off here and a block of sticky balls. It's going to fail the check and go down to 15.
So it's looking like the first turn advantage is really taking shape here in this one. So
being able to get that first damage, especially when we're talking about 20 health characters. That's when you're getting to a point where it's where being the first one to get attacked can very much put you in a back foot position, and then it's just what are you gonna do about it?
Yep, and you notice that a lot with the low health 7-hand size characters is that they kind of always will tend to want to play on the back foot a little bit. Just because that they kind of get put in that position so often that their deck has to be ready to be in that position.
Exactly. All right, we're in the tank.
That being said, though, what's going to be really nice this time around, there's 2 Endangers down there. And an Endanger last game would have been absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely agreed. Alright, back to a Monster Blast now.
Yeah, but having to commit half the resources to be able to put it out, so... Monster Blast should be coming in with a little bit of a bonus, just because of the long-lasting explosion as well.
Gonna flood that card pool. Or not? Yeah, okay, there we go.
Yep. Looking like there's not much else on either side, though, so we're probably just gonna go to a block, and then just that card being in the card pool, just to kind of... Oh, not actually blocking. Looks like gonna take it for the damage, and...
I'm taking the 2 from Bakugo here. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Luhan taking it back, maybe to be able to block with it. I wonder what's in his hand. Why he wants to keep it so bad.
I'm with you on that. I'm very, very curious on it.
Because we are looking at Monster Blast, so anything should be able to half block it. And he's got the life total right at the moment that he's not just going to presumably die right away, so...
Yep. And just lowering the speed on it as much. It's already mid, so Tape's going to lower the speed down by 2, using it for rescue completed. So it's a real slow attack.
Alright, so we've blocked, now what?
Yeah, I'm also super curious what is that last card in hand that's wanting to kind of just keep on it so much. Looking like they're deciding to kick that one out of the card pool, so it looks like we're gonna get some more being pushed down. I think we're on Foundation build, though? I don't think there's too much else that would be able to...
You've done damage, you're sitting at a healthy 28 life total. Opponent's at 12, so you've taken off not half, but nearly half. So I think you're in a good position, although it is curious, and I am wondering what Luhan has been holding in his hand here. All right, while we're in the tank here, chat, how about you let us know what decks you guys are going to be looking to play for this provisional showdown. Let us know. Let us know what you're interested in. What do you think is going to win? What you guys are going to take? If you're not taking the deck you think is going to win, why?
People want to see me eat hot sauce by playing Ida 2. Because I've said I have the spice intolerance of a small child. And if Ida 2 wins it any tournament, I said I would eat hot sauce or something equivalently hot on stream. So yeah, people are taking Ida 2 to meme me. They're like, if we show up with an Ida 2, there's a chance we could win it all. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna eat that hot sauce, but people keep trying. There are some Ida 2 in here tonight, though, and this does count as a shot. So.
And there was last week as well, so people are definitely playing the deck.
Most are playing it just to make me eat some hot sauce. So.
All right, so we are at 12 health to 28 at the moment. Bakugo in the lead. We've spun it over to Luhan with Mina here, and we see a grasping Tick Toss to kickstart us.
Excellent card right here, especially in this position. You're just going to be able to go ahead and push that damage through because it's a throw. A little bit of a stun just to get rid of one more of those foundations. And it's slow enough where you can go, all right, if you really want to block it, waste a card. Because that's... With it being only a 5 damage and there's not really any way to pump the damage up over on that side of the board, You really want to waste a card on 5 damage when it's still gonna be 3 damage? Nah.
Absolutely agree.
It seems to be the right call. And we're able just to go through, take that, and say, yep, that's fine. A little bit of damage is okay.
Okay, and that's it. So, deciding we're gonna hold our defenses here. Although there is the tape toss, so is he going to utilize it? Irrefutable.
Depends on what's in his hand left to build. If there's some foundations out, do you want the progressive difficulty to show up in your card pool?
True. I mean, we did see him build double 3s on turn 1, which could be indicating that his foundations have been great in hand. So, I mean, not gonna lie, sometimes I just unga bunga, and if I see orange, I play orange. I very much stick true to the statement. So maybe that's the kind of situation that Luhan's in right now. He doesn't have that much gray, so that might be the consideration here. We are gonna pitch.
Yep. And again, it's another free 5 damage that comes through. The stun's gonna stun out, so there's barely any chance of a block being put down, and a little bit of free damage. Every little bit helps.
Yep, absolutely.
More than likely, was probably looking at the hand and being like, "All right, so if I take this card, clog my card pool up, what's the next play? What's the progression of the hand?" And trying to map out your plays there, which that I think is how you show an expert Mina player from someone who's just picking her up the first time, because knowing where and how you can play your pickups is going to be super useful, because it's not something you can just look at your hand once and go, okay, yep, I see all the lines here. You're going to be adding so many new dimensions to those lines every time you check. Yeah,
because every single check, like you said, reinvigorates those lines, makes you have to think differently about it. Every single check you have to run through, okay, what does my turn sequence look like if this is now in my card pool? And whether that's an attack, okay, it's an additional attack, but if it's, like you said, a foundation, well, does that make it harder to play the foundations I have in my hand? So you're effectively reevaluating a new card draw, potentially every single check.
And you have the added bonus of being like, man, that card's not that good for me. I don't want to draw this card. It's in the check pool. It's cool. It's gone. It's already out of there. You'll never see it again until you shuffle.
So we did see you taking that damage.
Yep.
And now we're going to continue building.
And it just seems to be a single time to cry and put down your defensive block again and move on.
Got 3 cards in hand. Does have the ability to seal a foundation, so could be useful here.
I mean, what do you seal? There's three cards that are down are only good on defense. And,
yeah, I don't know. I mean
I guess you seal latent skill just to seal it, but
yeah. I mean, if you get rid of latent skill, because there's a lot of incentive here for Bakugo to be able to just close out the game. So if you seal latent skill, it prevents them from being able to dig for gas if he needs it.
Fair. It could be point blank.
That's the one. Stun 1. Fury attack with enhance. If your next attack you play this turn is a mid attack, you get +3 speed. Sits at a 3/6, so a lot of damage. Slowish attack. So mission complete will make this much easier to block if Luhan looks to block this one.
And 3 cards in hand, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Presumably their cards are going to want to cycle anyways.
Yeah. Because again, if you keep them in hand, it's just cards you're going to see next time. Oh, just accepted it. Okay. What do you have in hand that you want to keep such a hold of right now?
I don't know. I will say that with Bakugo, you also kind of don't want to block the first one, just because you don't want to give him a free kick to then not have progressive difficulty at all.
True.
So there is value in just face tanking the first one, just because now every single check just becomes that much more difficult.
Yep. And we see right there, instead of having to commit 2 foundations instead of just 1.
Mm-hmm.
Or 3 actually. Yep, their one's been getting committed there. 4? What did he? Oh, he checked orange. That makes more sense. Okay.
So we got to check for 6.
The trap being now is that this one is going to be pretty fast, coming in at a 6 base, 6 damage.
Mm-hmm. In the tank.
Definitely the spot to be right now. Again, we're seeing that life difference coming back, and just down the opposite side this time. A health that's very, very quickly killable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now we're seeing it. It's the stack is now lethal. You must block this attack now.
Yep, using the Bakugo Enhance to give it that additional 2 damage.
I think it's kind of the way you play Bakugo at this point now. Now that you know that most every single attack you're going to put down is going to be in lethal range. Now you start just burning your foundations and going, all right, it's either you or me. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we check a 3 here, so we're going to have to commit out some. Tap block, so going down to 4.
Yep.
And then kicking it out with Bakugo.
And 4 is very, very close to Magic Pixel Land. That's not the spot you want to be in.
Yeah, I would probably just build here and coast.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Just because like you're forcing Mina into a situation where they have to go all out, and like if you have some semblance of like defensive cards, you're not dying this turn. So
yeah, and if this is base set Bakugo, every single card except for instant explosive release is a kill.
Mm-hmm. All right, looks like we're gonna keep going.
Yep.
So this is what, Exploding Pride? Yeah.
I believe so, yep.
So 4 low for 3. Going down to 2 on the half block. Or going down to 2 from the enhance.
Yep. Ooh, this is scary territory for both, because you're 100% right. If there's another turn on the backswing, you gotta deal 18 damage right then and there.
Yeah, I will say Exploding Pride is actually pretty solid here as well. Mm-hmm. Just because not having momentum going into your crackback turn means you don't get to utilize things like Giant Ice Wall to be able to like double stun your opponent. You won't be able to use Powerful, which could like help you with that lethal range. So
try and do a full block on this one at least. So committing everything out, but gets the full block. So
yep, able to get there. The block happens. Bakugo kicks. And this is at that position where Bakugo is just so good, where you can force your opponent to say you are in a block everything position.
And more citrus coming down.
Exactly. So just, hey, you're forced to block everything, and every time you do, I don't have trouble actually doing stuff. And does this a win? Is that?
I believe this might be. There's still one card in hand, so the block could happen.
Yeah. It is
But there's
being sent
no
for,
foundations.
Yeah, being sent for 3 speed. We got 2 progressive difficulty, and then presumably this block is going to have a modifier of at least 1. So. And no, that's there. I don't think that's possible. Yeah, so that's going to be taken. That's it. Bakugo game 2, and we're going into game 3. And that's just an example of what Bakugo does really well. Once you're on the back foot, then at that point you're just forced to let Bakugo do what he does extremely well against you.
Oh yeah, and again, it pays a lot to the flavor of Bakugo as a character in the early seasons too. But that was very much he pure aggression, and as soon as you stepped a little bit back and got on that back foot, he was taking it home. So.
Yep, exactly. And now we're going to be in a game 3 position, but like we said, first turn advantage is absolutely huge, especially easier on Mina's side, just because she is a 20 health character. So being the first one to be able to push damage and not feel hurt by being like at a lower life total, because presumably by turn 2, she, if Luhan ends up seeing a little bit of orange, maybe bring that gap back to a 20 versus 20 situation, then you're a little bit more comfortable with what's going on.
Yeah. But we also got to remember here, time is going to be a big factor. We are very close to time in round being called for the whole round. So
true. And of course, provisional victory packs, not provisional, plus ultra victory packs do go out to undefeats. So if you are tied, that is not considered undefeated. But we do see here Luhan just kind of take an opportunity. Will be going for a rescue completed as the first check, as the first foundation. Something. Okay, so you judge, right?
Yes, sometimes. Usually well.
So you have to play at least 1 card a turn, right?
That is correct, yes. Otherwise, you reveal your hand to your opponent, and they get to pick one to pitch for you.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say, what if I like full mulligan twice as player 1, and then I just have orange?
Yep. You show your hand to your opponent, and they go, I think this one is the best card, and they throw it in your discard for you.
That's great.
So you always want at least play 1 card. The alternative is absolutely the worst thing you can do in the game, because you're just, not only are they pitching your best card, you're giving them all the information on your blocks for the next turn. So.
Exactly. All right, so solid build 4 here for Luhan, and we're just waiting for she's here to wrap up.
Yeah, and I'm not in the actual app this time around, so I can't see the exact times, but I do know that there was a time call at 7:38 my time, and it's 56 now for us, so we're getting real close on that.
Yep, there is about 30 minutes remaining. That was called at 38. So there is currently 10 minutes.
Yep, but both these decks are pretty quick on the aggressive side, so we could definitely see them pull out a quick victory without too much of a problem.
Yep, for sure. All right, and we're going to be calling it there. So build 4 on both sides.
Yep. Also, Chad is right. Technically speaking, they should be playing the sleeves. However, the Wednesday weeklies are considered a local. We're not going to call them on that. That's okay.
Yep, it's more freeform, gives you the opportunity to play whether you want to play super spiky or whether you want to be a little bit more laid back. Wednesday weeklies are here to kind of promote some casual, local, lower the ground stake play, just to give everyone a place to practice and play. So.
Yep. The grass and tape toss coming right back out, so we're seeing the same style of aggression as the first time. Just basically putting that throw down and being It's 5 damage. Take it or waste the card, kinda.
Yeah, it's super solid in that it's going to deal damage no matter what, which sets up your momentum, and that's exactly what this deck was to do. So, as an early turn tool, it's fantastic just because it's guaranteed poke, um, as well as just serves at feeding your giant ice walls, feeding your powerful attacks, and just it helps a ton. It is such a momentum swing because mostly with giant ice wall as well, because with giant ice wall momentum, you're effectively saying your opponent is going to play out their turn with 4 less foundations, which can be pretty huge.
Yep. Yeah, anytime when you have something that is going to be able to generate that quick a momentum for you, put it down, play it, get the momentum for the next turn, and then it's a threat. However, now that Deer is 100% knowing that there is a card that's going to hurt the momentum side as well, you gotta play, you can't just throw everything willy-nilly into the momentum. You gotta at least have a little bit of strategy and keep how much health am I willing to lose if that card comes down, twice a turn?
Exactly. I mean, heck, even just 2 months ago, I didn't even know momentum was something you could just opt to not put under your character. So.
But yeah, looking to be a block just to was that a block or was that sticky balls that got flipped and put some in the card pool?
It was blocked.
Okay. I was gonna say I saw the flip card down and looks like they're pulling that back with Mina too. So it's gonna be a high attack turn.
The take toss should have still dealt damage though, right?
That's what I thought, but I haven't seen the tracker get moved, so.
Yeah, presumably that should have still done half damage. Unless its damage got brought down to 0?
I don't think there's anything on Baku's side that can do that at the moment. And maybe they'll just update the tracker at the end of the turn. Oh, there we go. Yep. Yeah, there we see the one thing that water does best, and is clogging the card pool up, putting more stuff in there, getting a little bit of extra damage. And with those, there's another throw coming. Able to pull that with the Mina ability for the next form. Just goes, guess I'm taking that damage now. Yep.
Yep, and this is super solid position. You can stun again. So now, and especially with the progressive difficulty that's already there, you're not blocking anything else. So this is going to be a full 5 just off the rip. So
yep,
super good position. First turn you're able to get Bakugo down to 14 life, presumably, if it's not even, if it's not bumped up even more. Is a super solid position to be in.
Yep, not as big as of a gap as the first game, but I mean, pulling out that much damage off of just 3 cards and still probably going to be able to build 1 to 2 more. Can't go wrong with that turn. That's exactly what we see.
And that's it. So we got 2 standing. If he wants to, presumably everything into momentum, because at least everything dealt half. And nope, just shipping it over to this guy.
I don't personally agree with that. I think at least one of should go to the momentum, just so that way you have it for.
I'd say at least one. Because I understand now, you kind of just lose it if Bakugo does have the hate for it, but at the same time, I think the 1, if you go back to your turn and have something like a giant ice wall, outpays it outpays the damage. If I had to choose between both situations.
No, definitely 100% agree with you on that. But also, you have a little bit of a commanding lead being at that health range, so.
Yep.
Wanting to play a little bit on the safer side to, not risk the roulette wheel kind of thing. You can definitely see that. say, this was another Monster Blast coming out, correct?
Yep, that is the one.
So in theory, we're gonna have a little bit of Foundation Destruction. Keep that combo going with those enhances where you're tipping your hand, being like, "Yep, I'm gonna hit this exact spot. We're gonna go ahead and deal with it."
Mm-hmm. Checking a 3. And Bakuro's gonna kick it out.
Yep. No reason not to.
There's another Monster Blast.
Yep.
Checks an orange.
That's the time you don't want to see Citra.
Yeah, but it's not too bad. It is only the one.
Taking a look, 2 foundations left, so it's still blockable.
Okay, committing up for it.
Committing up.
Wow.
At the same train of thought, though, I don't think you could have ended your turn at that position. I think you had to push.
Just so you can play some foundations after?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I can agree with that position. Alright, does look like block the end. And now that we're committed, no longer being able to use the Bakugo response.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're now at that spot where you just build, and any attack you had in hand is now defense, and just try and push back and stem the tide of the turn.
Yep. Alright, so going back to building. So kicking it off with a latent skill. Arrogant Disposition is next, and then we've got
another Endanger. So 3 Endangers being dropped down, and that card's probably going to get some real good use out of this game.
Yeah, definitely providing with more longevity. But the real good defense here on the Mina player side, having Wall Cling up just to protect if things go super Ari. Otherwise, just being in a healthy life total, which is important.
Yep. And going through the discard pile definitely made me feel like a Frigid Heat Wave was going to come out. Just wanted to check and see.
Yeah, it's like cool that you checked a range, which is like cool. It's more range in there, but
and just pulling it back through. Why not?
Yep.
If there's a turn to go in, it's definitely probably this one.
Mm-hmm.
And no attacks, so no buff. Still a strong attack on its own, though.
Yep, and then it'll be followed up by Night Storm. So.
And again, if they were able to keep, one momentum in there, a lot more fun plays would be happening.
Mm-hmm.
the big thing I think people like kind of sleep on too is Mina getting that +1 speed to every attack.
Yeah, I mean it's something you can't ignore, especially when we're thinking about decks like Eraserhead coming back into the game. Um, that -2 speed every single attack is definitely super annoying. It's actually one of the reasons we see Ochako 2 being able to do incredibly well against the deck is just because just innately being able to get +2 speed. So that counterbalance definitely helps a lot here.
Yep. And then right there we have that Ice Wall getting dropped right back in.
Yep. Imagine if you had one momentum.
The only little saving grace on the Mako player's side is that all of the foundations right now are defensive. Both players, really.
Yep. Actually, I think this might be the Ice Storm. I do think it's the Ice Storm, yeah.
Is this one Ice Storm?
Yep, it's got a 4 diff.
Okay. I'm glad that got fixed in the unlimited packaging.
Eraserhead's been here for years. Yeah, of course Eraserhead's been here. I'm not saying otherwise, but we've seen a significant fall off from the start of the format, and especially in his results for the first provisional. We've definitely been seeing a downturn on Eraserhead, so he is seeing an uptick once more.
Yeah, no one's sleeping on Eraserhead. But Eraserhead has definitely been sleeping a little bit. He's been in a sleeping bag
exactly.
class.
Yeah. And you are absolutely correct. The Star deck is actually sneaky good. I think it's a deck that you still have to respect just because like it can pop off really hard and can put you in a really awkward position. So fully agree with that statement there.
Definitely. It definitely has the downside of by this point all of us know pretty much what's in those decks and how they work. So you lose a little bit on the information game by gaining a very much more stylized and controlled deck that does exactly what you want it to do. It's designed to do one thing really well, and it does that thing great.
Absolutely.
But yeah, seeing just a little bit of a build, calling off the attack and passing it back on over.
Yep, and it looks like three
cards
in hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe about four. Four, yep.
Well, lots of blocks. So it's tough because you are in a position. No, you're still at 20 health. I think you just take the first one, and then just force Bakugo to play with progressive difficulty a bit.
I agree. Yeah, at the 20 health mark, you saw them taking any damage yet. If you're keeping, 2 cards in hand, still, they're probably attacks to go into next turn with.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going for the death blow this next turn. You're okay taking 1 attack.
Agreed. And you do have the backup of Walkling if for whatever reason you have a mid block that, if you have a high or low that you can't fully get there, then at least Walkling will protect you.
Yep. And honestly, even if you do take this damage here, because you flip Sticky Ball, that's another additional that's going to be put in that card pool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of progressive difficulty that Bakugo does not want to deal with.
Exactly. Like, this will really prevent him from being able to go off in the way that he would want to.
Mm.
Okay, so we do see, so we see Bakugo take it here, go down, or we see Mina take it here, go down to 16.
Yep, and timing around did just get called, so this will probably, because Mina went first, so this is the last turn.
Yep.
In theory, if they heard the timer.
I'm expecting my deck to tick off with some of the new Death cards in Crimson Rampage. Yeah, I think Death and Evil in general are both getting pretty good bumps in terms of Crimson Rampage, and I think it'll definitely help their playability going into set 2.
Definitely agree there, and both Death and Evil really need a little bit because their set 1 is a little lacking compared to the other symbols, and I feel like this is going to even up that playing field quite a lot for all the symbols.
Yep, especially now that we have a proper introduction to a lot of the League of Villains characters between Davi, Toga. Obviously, we have Stain, who he himself supports those symbols a little bit. So, good position across the board to start with the game. And those odds are those symbols. Well, not every villain is necessarily going to be tied to evil or death or anything like that. Notably thematically, it kind of makes sense to put them there. So I can definitely see the more as we progress, the more that we get things like iconic villains and all that, the more those symbols are definitely going to get more support.
Yeah. And even some great heroes, like Mineta got put on evil for some reason. I don't know why.
For some odd reason. It is still, the verdict is still up on why that was done.
I don't know. I just there's no reason for it. Like he's getting a bad rap with that evil symbol,
Yeah,
100%. If Mineta also didn't have water, he would have also not been able to play with any of the other girls' cards in the first set.
True.
Because right now he can only play with the Froppy card out of the female cast. Pretty sure that was done intentionally. Thanks, Jessica.
Good chance. Instant explosive release here for Bakugo.
Yeah, there's definitely a chance that we could see Mina going down here.
Possible. Depends on what the blocks look like. I mean, doing a pretty good job of clogging the card pool, so I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm. Looks like the destroy for a little bit of damage. Yep.
Okay. Going down to 11, so we're at parity now.
Yep.
But the onus is we got judges in here, maybe they're gonna call it. But the onus here is definitely on Bago to try and make this win, because if not, that'll be it. And then that'll be a draw.
Yep. And by the looks, we have one table that still is going. I do know that one of the tables had a time extension. And then we just have this one and one other table that are in overtime at the moment. So.
Yep, the other table playing is Nomer. For you guys who don't know, Nazirio currently playing as well. So if you guys want to support or view perspectives from other games, I'll be posting the link in the chat. You guys can go ahead and check our stream and see the tournament from a additional perspective. We always welcome streamers. If you guys want to stream your gameplay, very much go for it. We have a fantastic suite of creators between Tam, between Bromley, who stream their games, and always glad to support more creators.
Definitely go. Anytime you guys see someone who's dropping some My Hero Academia card game action, give them a follow. It's one of the best things you can do for a streamer. Same thing subbing on YouTube, giving the video a like that little thing is such a huge support, and it just uplifts a lot of people who are doing this for not only for fun, but to help the community and yourself grow as a player as well. So
absolutely. I knew a few players at my local game store refused to play Mineta because it's creep.
Yeah, I read that. I didn't wanna. Chat's talking down. I'll go get the shirt. It's right there. It's right there. I'm watching you, chat. I'm watching you.
All right, so we saw a block, so it's going to get kicked out.
Yeah, and if you know this is time, you might as well just play your cards for all the blocks you can. Like,
yeah, pretty much. Just know that, survival here is kind of the end of the game.
Yep.
And that's that. That's a draw.
That'll be it.
All right. So, both decks here definitely showcasing what they can do really well. Mina being able to get those additional digs and from out of nowhere be able to push out additional attacks and additional, just additional things that, some decks don't get that ability to be able to like deep draw as she can for that one card you need. And of course, there's that skill ceiling of trying to understand like, okay, is this the one that I want to use my mill on? Or the one you bank on getting your mill on never actually arrives, and you got to make do with what you get. Alternatively, Bakugo, once he's got you in a back foot in the corner, you're in a very tough position. Because at that front, it's just, if you block, then you just keep on allowing him to kick out cards and keep on applying his aggression. So.
Yep, and you also can see too, one of the people in this game is somebody who's been playing this game forever. I mean, helps make the game. And the other person is one of our newer players, and they're playing on equal footing, getting a draw. So it's a lot of how well you understand your deck and how good of a pilot you are, more than just the inherent strength of each individual card.
Yep, 100%. And with that said, guys, that was round 1. So very well done to both our players getting up in the first round of the Wednesday weekly. We're going to give it a couple of minutes. I think the players are getting set up. We like Linoko was saying, we are waiting out on one more game. So we're going to go ahead and let them do that while we set up, get on our end. I definitely need to go get some water. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in between. And with that said, we'll be right back. So we'll catch you guys in a minute.
Yep. See you in a bit, guys.
All right, cool.